Hello and welcome to A Day with the Cart Driver. We're now up until
This is winter 2012.
winter 2012. I'm Scamp.
And I'm Day.
This means we're officially more than 20% of the way through now. Because we've done 2 out of 10 years.
Oh, I guess so.
Anyway, so we're 2012. It's another year and another season and another anime called Another. This was the most watched show of the season at the time.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, it was fairly big. It was,
I hated its guts at the time.
yeah, and then you realize, oh, it's a comedy. Or was it ever
It was more, I went back to it a few years later, and I was able to be like, this is really stupid. And I'm enjoying it because of it's stupid. My issue was at the time, though, that people were treating it as very scary horror. And because that was my expectation going in, I then was disappointed. Also, quite frankly, the person who wrote it, his wife is Fuyumi Ono. Fuyumi Ono wrote Shiki. So if you're like, the husband of the Shiki author, you're not really expecting another. Even if Shiki did have some physically, potentially humorous deaths toward the end.
God bless his director, because this is the guy who did 90% sure, and this is the guy who did Shirobako.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah, and he's done a whole load of stuff. Like, he's quite a prolific director. But some of the stuff by him I really like, but it's usually the comedy stuff. Like, I think he did Squid Girl, he did Shirobako, Girls on Panzer is him. But he also fancies himself as a horror director, which means he's done things like Mayoiga.
Hey, Mayoiga is great.
Well, okay, that's if you want to call Mayoiga a comedy or horror. But yes, you can see some similarities, I think, between Another and Mayoiga.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, I would even point out that the character designs are pretty similar.
Yeah, they are.
But what was I going to... Oh, I will point out that Another is an unusual case in that you can read the novel in English. Yen Press licensed it. It's alright. It's less comical than the show because you're not seeing the silly visuals of, say, people dying because they trip down the stairs while holding an umbrella. I think that's probably the most infamous of the deaths.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so, not really for you if you want horror that's actually creepy, but it can be quite a scream.
We opened on Another, though, but, like, for both of us, there are anime this season that we both of us absolutely fucking love.
Yes.
Like...
Well, mostly they're not the same things, though.
No, well...
In fact, they're absolutely not the same things, but that's okay.
We did both really like Aquarion EVOL. I
enjoyed it.
I liked
you
it more.
really liked it.
I loved Aquarion EVOL. I still find it nuts that, like, one of my favorite anime of the decade ended up being a sequel to a show I'd never seen that was never very good originally anyway. There was 12,000 years in the future, obviously. So it's like, okay, any kind of continuity has long since been lost. And it's about a main character who floats when he gets too horny and has to wear weights in his shoes.
I mean, haven't we all been there?
Yeah.
Am I hallucinating, or did Yoko Kanno do the soundtrack?
Yes, she did. Yoko Kanno, she hasn't done much lately. I think she's on another level to everyone else in anime music, I think.
It's difficult for me to think of anybody else who comes close.
Like, I know Joe Hisashi, who did all the Ghibli music, or...
yeah, but that's
Kenji.
Sort of a different sort of case, is it? Because did he do much in TV anime?
He did the soundtrack to Nichijou, which is actually quite good.
That's interesting.
Yes. But again, like, even he, like, I don't think anyone comes close to Yoko Kanno. Like, what's the name of the one who does Calafina's music?
Oh.
Did the music for Madoka. And currently doing the music for...
Wait, he didn't do the music
for
Madoka?
she.
Oh, she. Yeah, you mean Yuki Kajira.
Yeah, Yuki Kajira. Like, she's really good, but she's kind of one note.
Yeah, sometimes I do wonder, is it that she's one note, or it's just that everybody seeks her out for the same thing because they know she does it well?
Yeah. Whereas Yoko Kanno's, like, breadth and depth. I didn't expect us to be, of all things, talk about Evol to talk about the music. The music's good, but yeah.
I remember liking the ending song.
Yeah. I
think it was the illustrations used.
The opening's actually, I like the opening as well, because that's the one that's
God, I can't remember the opening at all.
Oh, sorry, boom, living your life, don't give up now, keep moving.
Anyway, I know I watched it because... No, I don't. Sorry.
I
remember I watched it because I was visiting you when you lived in that horrible place.
Oh, yes.
Where I woke up one morning and stretched my arms too much and one of my arms hit a wall and slid. But yes, you got me watching it while I was there.
I mean, did I show you the first episode or just you watched?
I think I just watched, you were in the 4th or 5th episode at that point, maybe even the 6th. And I went back later and rewatched the earlier ones.
And I was like, look at how dumb this shit is. And you're like, yes, this is good dumb.
You know, it's funny because that, the last time I'd done something like that had been Bleach. If we want to go really far back. But, yeah, Evol's okay. I'm frustrated with the ways in which it doesn't use its female characters toward the end. I mean, this is a show in which we have one moment where a female character's like, I'll help, and you're thinking, oh, this is going to be the dramatic moment where everything comes to fruition, and a male character leaps up and says, no, you can't, you'll hurt yourself, and so she doesn't do anything. So, I'd say, yes, I enjoyed its energy and a lot about it. I also don't think it did a great job with its female cast, ultimately.
They didn't do well by poor Zeska.
Yeah, well, yeah, meanwhile, she's lying around in a fucking Venus flytrap naked.
Poor Zeska. Even, like, the picture at the end is of Zeska looking kind of down.
Ah, well, you know...
She deserved better.
I mean, someone's got to lose out in a love triangle unless... it's like Star Driver.
But, like, maybe she could have, because, like, it seemed like there was, like, a half thing brewing between her and the redhead guy. But it seemed fairly clear that Zeska didn't actually have much interest in that.
Well, but wouldn't it have been sort of... Isn't it kind of annoying, though, when a show comes up with a character suddenly just to toss in as a, like, hey, you lost the main guy you're really into, but here's this other one, maybe you'll like him.
You can find love. That's what Evol's all about. It's about finding love.
She'll be fine, Joe.
She'll be fine.
She's also got more than 2 brain cells to rub together,
so
she probably would not have been happy long term.
No, because
Also, I do hold it against the show that they killed. It's okay.
Spoilers.
You already spoiled it.
What?
You said that Zeska didn't get the guy.
I mean, that was obvious from episode 1. Mikono was the, I'm the flouncy one. And Zeska's like, I'm the one with the tits. Which meant Zeska was better.
I loved that
Zeska's
episode where it's like,
girl.
I'm going to wear something that's more modest and girly.
Yes. My
more modest and girly outfit literally involves straps obscuring my nipples and nothing else.
Yep. Zeska's great.
Anyway.
She wasn't even the best character in that show. The best character in that show was Andy W. Hull.
The best character in that show was... Shrade.
I mean, actually, the best character in that show was
the chairwoman.
Oh, well, she was great, but it was the guy. She was with the guy who was 12,000 years old and had a globe over his eyeball.
Look, now who's spoiling shit? Wow. Are you kidding me? Wow. Of course, it also is... just stop. And then Quetzalcoatl shows up.
It is a fantastic anime. There's one episode where they all get into hot tubs full of bananas.
It's a fun show.
It is a fun show. And then there's the metaphor for erections where they have
Yes, thank you. Anyway, speaking of shows that involve...
very dumb robots and stuff.
I guess we could talk about Symphogear, but it doesn't have robots.
I guess they're Mecha Musume more like.
Yeah, I mean, they've got... It's basically like Magical Girl, but also like My Armor.
Yeah, so it's halfway between Mecha Musume and Magical Girl, I guess.
Anyway, Symphogear is great. I love Symphogear. I watched this on when Nico Doga did the streaming in the West stuff. That's how I watched this. And I think by the end, so it'll show you how many people have watched. And I want to say that episode 12 had like maybe 74 people had watched it, which is too bad.
It was a show that picked up more.
Yeah, so the first season's fine, but it really only comes into itself with subsequent seasons because it dialed up the ridiculousness a bit and it dispensed with some of the, more serious attempts at being serious. Symphogear, yeah.
So it's like Fast and the Furious.
I guess. I don't think Vin Diesel's in it, though.
Would it not be improved?
Wasn't Vin Diesel in the Fast and the Furious?
Yes. And
He's the one that didn't die, right?
No, he's alive and well.
The white guy's the one who croaked in real life, right?
Isn't Vin Diesel? Well, I guess he's Latino, is he? I don't know
I don't actually know.
I don't know where Vin Diesel is from. I don't think his real name is Vin Diesel.
Yeah, I don't think it is either.
I also know Vin Diesel.
So about Symphogear. Yeah, I love Symphogear. It's ridiculous. It's getting another season this summer, so you should probably just give it a try. This season might be streaming on Crunchyroll, but I'm not sure. I love it.
It's one of the shows that you seem the most enthusiastic about from this entire decade. Possibly because it's continued to air, so I keep hearing you talk about it.
It is absolutely the sort of show that I would be content to watch it as they keep making more and more until the sun explodes and kills us all. It's fun. But you don't have any of the great quotes from it this season, like "I will be history's last rock star."
I mean, but you did have this is just like an anime.
Oh, you do have, so the plot of it is that there's these weird creatures called the Noise that if they touch people, people disintegrate. And these pop stars were fighting it, but then one of them dies. And then this, Genki, I can do anything. She ends up becoming one of the folks who fights them too. And I think the biggest thing though is that it turns out the villain is someone who wants to destroy the moon because she fell in love with God thousands of years ago.
Oh, so it's just like Aquarion EVOL.
Yeah, pretty much. And so she decides she's going to destroy the moon to get back at God for not loving her. Anyway, it's great. You should watch it.
I mean, we're looking at it now. As far as winter seasons go, this is probably one of the best you're going to get. If I had EVOL and Symphogear, I mean, okay, I don't give a shit about Symphogear. I've really tried, but hey, well, I had one of
Wait a minute, you really tried? You watched one episode?
No, because I watched 2 episodes of the first season.
Oh, I watched 2 episodes. I've tried so hard. Anyway,
so one of my favorite anime from this season was Daily Lives of Highschool Boys.
Changing gears a fair bit.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the anime that are really good.
Okay.
I think so. Why Daily Lives of High School Boys matters to me is because the season we're currently in a post-K-On! Age at this day, and there's a whole bunch of anime copying that, which is like cute girls doing cute things, and this was a lot of them, including cute boys doing cute things. Actually, I was right there because the season before was Kimi to Boku, which was for me.
So boring.
This panicky moment of, oh god, the guys are doing it now too. Is this going to be everything? It's either going to be that or Anohana-esque drama factories. And I was unhappy about the state of anime. And then it's oh good, they're making anime. I like Guilty Crown, and then Guilty Crown, poked his butt in the air and then shot a fountain. Because Noitamina this season is it's the second half of Guilty Crown and Black Rock Shooter. Now, if you want to talk something just pure, absolute, unadulterated, more 2 butts farting and pooping in, yeah.
Look, I will say this with Black Rock Shooter.
Yes?
It was not good, but it was the kind of bad that I at least could enjoy.
Wait.
I didn't finish it.
The TV series?
I think it was the TV series.
It had a girl walking around going, the sky is blue.
I mean, I didn't say it was good.
It was terrible. It was
not as bad as Guilty Crown.
It was I think it's worse than Guilty Crown. It was pretentious as fuck. It was oh, this is a great idea. Let's make an anime out of this thing because someone drew a picture to a Hatsune Miku in a black bikini. People liked it, so we made an anime out of it.
I mean, Anthem of the Heart, that movie, that was also from one of these songs.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
Anyway.
but we'll talk about that
But,
subsequently.
so I was like feeling pretty down about anime at this time. And then Daily Lives of High School Boys came out, put his arm around me and said like, yeah, we know anime's fucking stupid. Let's all make fun of it.
Oh, it wasn't High School DxD that
No.
restored your faith? Or
No. It was
Listen
Daily
up, girls, I'm your father?
No. It was Daily Lives of High School Boys. I don't think I'd still be watching anime today, if not for Daily Lives of High School Boys.
Huh. So I guess we wouldn't have gotten married.
Probably not.
Wow.
You have Daily Lives of High School Boys to thank for our marriage. It is a...
So I guess if the one who director ever shows up at a con, I should thank him.
Yeah, he's actually a very good director. He's done a whole bunch of other comedies. Like,
Sort of like how he had someone tell
oh, yeah. Are you going to relay that story to the world?
Oh, we can in a different episode.
All right. But yeah, no, this director's good. He said he worked on Gintama, which is... The Gintama one's very obvious because they use the same fucking soundtrack and same sound effects. It's weird. But they also did things like School Rumble, and he's done a bunch of stuff since then.
Wonder how common that is, reuse of soundtracks and sound effects.
I do know that there's a sound effect in Bakano of like bones getting crushed that sounds like... And I've heard that in multiple anime. But it's especially noticeable in Bakano because it happens a lot.
Soundtracks is probably less common. Because the only other example I know of is that... Aoi Bungaku and Moria no Hako have the same soundtrack, or not exactly the same, they share a bunch of the pieces. Anyway.
There was a bunch of, because like EVOL and Symphogear, but there appeared to be a trend around right now for like very colourful science fiction. So, because like, for example, Bodacious Space Pirates came out this season.
Yep.
Which was, it seemed like it was going to be big, and then it just kind of wasn't.
It did respectably.
Yeah.
It was not a smash hit. I only watched about half of it.
Same here.
It just...
It kind of didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it wasn't quite... Because it wasn't something that was presenting itself up front as something that would be not... Oh, what am I trying to say? It's... Like, shows where not a lot happens. If you know that's the way it is off the bat, okay, fine. That's not necessarily a bad thing. But it presented itself as being a lot more momentous.
Yes.
Or, a lot more things were going to happen dramatically.
And that very much didn't. Yeah, I could see that.
And, I mean, there were some things that were, but my interest fizzled a bit. I think the cast didn't do enough for me. Which was, it's not bad. I never watched René no Lagrange, or I think it's released in the West as Flowers of Lagrange.
Have you at least seen the OP though?
I don't remember.
It is the only thing worth remembering about the show. No one remembers Lagrange, but the OP is actually really good.
I remember at the time that people seemed to like it decently enough.
Yeah. It's
one that I periodically think, maybe I should go back and watch it, because folks who had opinions I respected seemed to dig it.
Unfortunately, it was just one of the many, many, mech shows that just didn't take off this decade. Unfortunately, this was just a bad...
Oh, you mean like most of the Gundams?
I mean, with the sole exception, really, of the Gundams. Because, the Gundams did well. Origin sold,
I know
Unicorn
for a while
sold.
that Star Driver was, the only non-pre-existent mech thing that had, turned a profit.
Yeah, it was...
I don't know if that's still true, granted.
What else would have come out? Valve Rave?
Well...
Unless you want to count Attack on Titan as a mech show.
No.
Yeah.
Piloting meat puppets is not mechs. You might as well call a thing about driving tanks a mech show or planes.
Oh yeah, Girls and Pans are my favorite mecha anime. It was just a bad year for mecha shows, and Lagrange is just kind of one of the many ones that didn't take off. I don't actually hold anything against Lagrange, because it seemed like it has heart in the right place. It's fine. It's just...
Although, if you think about it, how many mech shows really do take off? Is it just that we think otherwise because some very large ones did very well.
I guess the thing
Once
is, though,
upon a time.
I think the problem is the things that have done anime that have done really well this decade. A lot of them are either contemporary fantasy, which is in the sense of things like the superhero shows, for example.
Huh.
So it's contemporary fantasy, or it's straight fantasy. It's things like Titan.
As opposed to gay fantasy. Okay, so where are we fitting isekai shows?
I think they count as fantasy.
Okay.
Slash contemporary fantasy. Oh well, I guess. Yeah. So why would you count something like we will get to talk about Sword Art Online in another podcast. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Oh
well.
Oh, something actually I mentioned earlier, by the way, was that I was wrong. I said Noitamina only had the second half of Guilty Crown and Black Rock Shooter. That was wrong. They actually did have another show air because it was only like 3.
Oh, because Black Rock Shooter wasn't like a full 12
Yeah, it was like 8 episodes or something. But for those 3 extra episodes, they aired a little short called Thermi Rome, which is fantastic. I've actually just rewatched it within the last 2 days.
Wow, that was sure a sacrifice when you consider how short it was.
Yeah, I know. The whole thing is... It's my second favorite short series of the decade. I mean, it's a flash anime thing. It is about a guy, a Roman architect who makes baths, and he's struggling for ideas, and then he travels to modern Japan, and he looks around and goes, whoa, this is amazing. And then he comes back to his world and then tries to remake it again, but it's constantly in this internal struggle, because he's like, why can the Romans not make things as glorious as this race of people can? The Romans, not as great, but of course he can't tell anyone this, and yeah.
So he's a weeb.
Yeah, he's a weeb, yes.
Oh,
Lucius is a weeb. There's an episode later, there's like some weird...
Doesn't he go to space? Or is that something else?
I mean, he does constantly rocket off the ground whenever he it's like, here, try some of this fruit milk. I mean, he speaks Latin, so none of them can understand him. But he I should try some of this fruit milk. Every time he tries something in Japan, he then they'll have a graphic of him rocketing up into space, going, sugar. Yeah, basically. Why nothing in any of the... Thermi Rome is actually one of these weird... it's one of those manga that's actually held out by the Japanese government as look at this great culture that we produce. It's alongside things like Saint Young Men and stuff like that have this appeal. It's spread beyond the anime circles.
I was going to say, though, I doubt that the Japanese government, given the concerns about Saint Young Men being released outside Japan...
But as in, I have seen...
I know what you mean, though.
It's had this weird circulation amongst, it's not even just hipster folk, but, the government themselves, give it awards.
Check out this shit.
Yeah, say, this is a cultural artifact of our nation. Please check it out. It's really good. I actually seen the movie for it as well, the live action movie. I know, which are they start to crowbar in a really awkward romance, which doesn't work at all because the acting's terrible. But the guy who plays the main character is a mixed race guy.
Huh.
So he's Japanese crossed with some Euro nation anyway. But yeah, he does very much the thinker pose in one shot when completely naked, which is pretty great. It's actually a reasonably good movie.
And you said the acting was terrible.
The acting is terrible. Apart from he's actually quite a good actor, but that's because he's overacting, which what you had to do for that role anyway. I love Thermi Rome.
So we have gathered. Don't you also love something else? Actually, did you like Nisa Monogatari?
I like that one I like Kaiki. They introduced Kaiki this season, who's the secret best character in that show.
Which one is he?
He's the guy.
She?
He's the guy.
It's a guy.
He's the guy.
Isn't he a werewolf?
He sort of looks
Isn't he basically just what's his face?
He's permanent.
Logan.
He looks like Logan. Yeah. He's kind of except he's not cool though. He's permanently misery guts. He's got no fighting skill whatsoever. If someone wants to fight, he just go just go away. I don't really want to do this.
Wait, so how does this differ from Logan?
He's great, and he's got wonderful background music. There's this one episode where they're in a donut shop, like the main character, and they're sitting there going, "Oh, donuts, donuts!" Like, wait, who's that over there? And before you see him, his music starts up. It's like brom, 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 like Eeyore-esque music, and you see him like cutting a donut with a knife and fork, going, "Oh, what are you guys doing here?" Kaiki's great. So that's one thing this season did. It was introduced Kaiki. The second good thing it did.
Oh, is this the toothbrush
The
show?
toothbrushing scene, which is other horny anime wish they could achieve the levels of artistic merit. You can't see Day is rolling her eyes at me.
Yeah, because then you wanted to brush my fucking teeth.
Did I make you? Yeah, I did, didn't I?
Yeah, guess what, folks? It ain't that erotic.
No. It's fun to do, though.
Yeah, because you weren't the one getting a toothbrush accidentally crammed down your throat every 3 seconds.
I was very careful.
You slipped a couple times.
Okay. Look, it was very
Look,
exciting.
my tonsils do not need toothpaste.
It was like being in one of my favorite anime. This is not the best season of Monogatari.
I hope it wasn't like being in your favorite one since she was... If it's the guy brushing his sister's
Oh yeah, it was
teeth.
his sister's too. This is probably the worst season of the Monogatari series, so I won't really talk about it. We'll get when second season comes around, which is like another year from now. I'll talk about it then. But yeah, got to bring up the toothbrushing scene, for it is iconic.
Yes, it is.
Anyway,
you know what else was iconic once upon a time?
Which one are you gonna go for here?
Bleach, which
Oh.
ended this season.
Yes.
Finally put out of its misery.
God, they've been talking about good OPs. There's been a bunch of OPs I want to play this season.
Yeah, Bleach, I mean, I don't know if the final OP was good, but Bleach had a lot of good OPs.
Yes.
So, Bleach was where I started actually using digital fan subs, because to this point, I had subsisted on, well, official releases and, fan sub tapes and VCDs.
Tape traders.
Yep. I remember the old days.
This is all way before my time.
Yeah. So, Bleach, an episode was shown. I think it was episode 4. I know it was the episode that Chad gets involved as more involved as a character, because it involves a parakeet in which the soul of a child is trapped. And I remember watching this, and first of all, the OP was like, wow, that was fucking cool. What is this?
Yep.
And I went home and I finally figured out how to do torrenting based on that. So I watched about 120 episodes or so of Bleach
More
before
than
I
me.
dropped.
Yeah.
I really liked what I watched of Bleach. It's just that, it started getting bogged into filler arcs, as did, a lot of the other shonen shows deal with this, but it seemed particularly troublesome in Bleach's case because, I don't know, they didn't integrate the filler arcs into the rest of the material particularly well.
I feel like shonens have learned from this nowadays.
Yeah, and Kubotite, God, that man he is an absolute master at, drawing stylish stuff. He is really good at that. My God, I wish his editor had intervened a bit more, because holy hell.
Wasn't there at some point, though, like, he didn't really know what he was doing with the story anymore?
I don't know.
Because,
I just know that, if in your second major story arc, you go like, duh, I don't know what I'm doing. I know, let's do exactly what I did in the first story arc. Let's have someone get kidnapped.
Yeah, there was put it this way, so Naruto ended late. I mean, Naruto's quite a long way from it now, but, Naruto ended. And, there was an outpouring of just people, even if they, maybe had dropped off at some point, or maybe had... or just, had their issues with it. There was this big outpouring of Naruto was such a huge aspect of anime fandom. You still have people nowadays doing the stupid Naruto run. Naruto... But at this time, maybe not at this time, but, in the late 2000s, Naruto and Bleach were talked about in the same sentence. They were
I wouldn't say in the late. I'd say, probably in the 2004 to 2007 or 8,
Yeah,
yes.
Shippuden in 2007 is when that aired.
Yeah. I don't think anybody was past about 2008 or so.
But yeah, it just at a point it seemed everyone watching Bleach didn't like it anymore.
Yeah, I guess what you're really driving at is that Naruto fans, when the first series ended, were like, even if I didn't keep watching this, oh, it's kind of sad that it's ending. Whereas in Bleach's case, mostly people were like, thank you God for putting this thing out of its misery.
I mean, the anime didn't even reach the end of the manga.
No, not even close.
It was cancelled.
Yeah.
Was the manga cancelled, or did he actually end it properly?
You know, I'm not sure, but you mentioned the thing about him not really knowing what he was doing. I do seem to recall there being something about he'd wanted to end it at a much earlier point, but it was just too popular, so they wouldn't let him kill it. But yeah, like, I loved Bleach, and Bleach was a big deal to me, but it's sad how that went.
Yeah.
If you're gonna watch it, just watch the Soul Society. Watch from the start to the end of the Soul Society arc. So that's like what, I don't know,
66.
probably 60 something.
To be honest, I was
something.
like I stopped watching before even the end of the arc. I didn't even reach the big reveal.
Anyway, watch to that point. Don't bother watching anything more because it gets more and more
Then watch
convoluted and bad.
Crunchyroll have put out like they've started doing this is they just upload all the OPs to YouTube now, and they've just got one that is just here's every Bleach OP.
Yeah, most of the Bleach OPs were fantastic. There are some that are a little
Yeah.
but for the most part, they're really good. I also think the endings are really good for the most part.
I might be not there with you on that one. But.
Okay, Hokiboshi was great.
Okay.
Hokiboshi, they had different animation for every iteration of that. So they had 13 different versions of it. That's pretty cool.
Do you know what else? Well, something that like hasn't dropped. That's
Actually,
yeah.
well,
Or do you want to?
I was gonna go with the theme of cancellation.
Oh.
Night in the Area.
Oh.
Okay, you probably never heard of this because there's really no reason to.
Random soccer anime.
Night in the Area was a shonen soccer show that had the distinction of being cancelled. And I say the distinction because while long-running shows are officially cancelled, because it's like, hey, we don't have any more material, or oh, hey, nobody likes us anymore, it's actually fairly unusual for anime to get cancelled because the viewership numbers are so terrible that, or rather, Night in the Area started airing this season and it was canceled fairly quickly. And that does not usually happen. It was such an incredible failure. They didn't even produce consumer DVDs for this. That's how badly it did.
Wow.
They didn't bother to release it for the consumer market. The only way you could get your hands on a DVD of this show, or just a physical release in general, was that they produced some for the rental market. But yeah, anyway, I will say this, Night in the Area, it was like about this kid whose brother dies, and his brother is really good at soccer, and this kid's not great at soccer, and then his dead brother possesses him.
Wow.
Yep.
Just like Natsuyuki, you're on. Actually, that's not this season. We'll get to talk about the.
But yeah, you want to go back to talking about some stuff that was like, this shit, it was big. It still
It
is.
still is. It's the Precure series.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Berserk.
Oh. I was going to like. I don't think
I mean, we could talk about, so,
Neither of us have seen Smile Precure.
no.
But
The only reason we're mentioning this is that Netflix picked it up as Glitter Force.
yes, this is Glitter Force.
This was an old school approach to licensing an anime because,
And if you're going to do anything, you do it with Precure.
yeah. So Netflix licensed Smile Precure, and they adapted it as Glitter Force, which was a hack and slash job.
Yep.
Like old school. Think,
Pokemon.
well, I'd say Card Captors
Oh,
is
right.
probably a much better example. If you're old enough, you might remember that Card Captor Sakura was adapted by Nelvana in the US as Card Captors. My god, that was a hack and slash job. Or for people who are slightly younger, maybe you remember Tokyo Mew Mew, which a similar thing was done with.
Or Robotech.
God, that's really old school.
I mean, Robotech is very famous because it's the reason Macross doesn't. And also, Robotech has like this weird pull on a certain generation.
Also, Robotech is a bizarre example in that it wasn't just one show.
No, yeah,
they took bits from 2 other shows,
Yes.
including Southern Cross, which
Yes.
is actually a very fun show. But yeah, Glitter Force, man, people were really. It's funny because you had sort of the duality of anime fans. You had the fans who were like, how dare they desecrate this? Ugh, Netflix is evil. Then you had the fans who were like, oh my god, this looks terrible, let me watch it.
I thought people, like, it seemed like it did its job. Like, people liked it. As in, kids liked it, which is what they were trying to get.
Yeah, I think it did perfectly fine with the child audience.
Yeah, it was interesting, yeah.
But I was talking about specifically anime fans.
Oh yeah, anyway, Berserk.
Yeah,
So-
Glitter Force to Berserk.
Glitter Force to Berserk. Very similar shows, really.
Who wins in a fight? The strongest Precure?
Or Guts from Berserk.
Yeah.
The Precures, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page. Anyway, you go along with
I mean,
Berserk.
maybe some of the more demony versions that appear later on. So that's the thing. Berserk had an anime in 1997, which was, I mean, it's not particularly well animated, but much like the manga, has incredible artwork. A lot of the original manga is just him standing there with a sword going, but I've heard someone describe the Berserk manga as looking like woodcut drawings, such as the level of intricate line work and stuff.
I just remember the original. I could swear that the original TV series had a very terrible OP.
Yes. Oh my god, that OP is one of the worst OPs you will ever hear.
See, now I want to go revisit it.
But like that original Berserk series, I'm not sure how much I'd like it today, but I was one of my favorite anime of all time. Once upon a time, Berserk.
Huh.
Really, really, really loved Berserk. But it stopped. I mean, from what I've heard from what happens later in the manga, it sounds like that I kind of not as interested in what happens afterwards. But anyway.
I remember people being really excited, fans of it, because they got off a boat that they've apparently been on for like...
Well, yeah. For 4 years.
Yeah, something ridiculous. Anyway, but this Berserk. Was this the terrible 3D CG?
So this was the movies before. So they did a TV series later, but that had like truly, truly terrible 3D CG. This had like just regular bad 3D CG. Because I was looking at like reviews of this earlier, and I was like, actually, people are kind of okay with this, but it's just something just as, I just face it, gritty and dark and dirty as the world of Berserk is. It having this weird clean CG and these giant fight scenes that look awful, it just doesn't work. It's something that's lost, and like this was their chance to bring back Berserk and start adapting later arcs, and it just doesn't work.
With Berserk, I just remember from being a young fan. Remember how I mentioned the duality of anime fans?
Yeah.
Berserk seemed another good example because the people I was aware of who were into it, it was either the really cranky 40-somethings in the comic book store who hated the fact that Sailor Moon was being stalked, or it was the really rabid yaoi fangirls.
Yes.
Those were the two groups.
Guts and Griffith is a love for the ages.
I preferred the rabid yaoi fangirls because they didn't have an issue with Sailor Moon being stalked, or maybe more broadly, they didn't seem to take issue with what this place was stalking.
Speaking of yaoi fangirls, I read an interesting piece the other day around about this time, which was when yaoi paddles were a thing.
Oh God, please don't remind me. People don't like to remember things like that.
Anyway. We've
See, I didn't know anybody with those because myself and all my friends were didn't have allowances that extended to that sort of largesse.
So, correct me.
Well, I also don't think we would have liked them anyway, but...
It's the whole point of yaoi paddle, you run and hit people with them.
Yeah.
And what happens when you hit them?
God, I don't remember.
Do they then I'm gay now?
I'm not sure I ever saw one being wielded in the wild.
Okay.
In fact, quite frankly, the only time I saw a paddle of this sort were the far less popular Yuri paddles.
Okay.
Which, when I saw the thing about yaoi paddles, what came to mind was the fact that Erica Friedman of Okazu wouldn't let people into her panels if they had Yuri paddles.
Okay.
She'd boot them.
Okay.
But anyway.
Doing God's work, except not because it's gay. Because God doesn't like gays, according to the church. Anyway.
Look, I'm not Catholic.
Okay, yeah, the Protestants, they have... anyway, never mind. We kind of covered most of the interesting things from this season.
No, you know what? We were talking yaoi. I really do need to talk.
Okay.
We had the reboot of Ai no Kusabi.
This is like an OVA series.
This was fucking huge. It was from Ai no Kusabi. So I never read it myself because it just was not my sort of thing. But it takes place on Mars in a society that has slaves.
Okay.
And it's sort of...
we're off to a good start.
Yeah, no, it's sort of like vaguely Greek in nature because it's, you had the thing with, you can have your little pet man that you fuck, but you can't fall in love. So it's kind of like the Greeks, with the pederasty.
Yeah.
Ancient Greeks, folks. Ancient Greeks. And it's sort of like that. And this thing was huge when it was first a thing. This was a reboot. I think it did very well. Yeah. Anyway, you have to mention it. It's totally not my thing, but I had to mention it.
Speaking of weird OVAs, have you heard of Gyo?
Oh, God. Yes,
this
the
little
fish.
With the giant fish shark things with legs running around Terra City. Because I do remember it's pretty fucking awful, but also it also had like double penetration in one scene, but anyway. And then it ended with a mad scientist who converted himself into a shark human and then like farting across the sky while going blah, 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 blah. So yeah.
Isn't that what we all dream of?
Apparently that was his dream. Anyway, some of the other stuff. Did you watch Inno X Boku SS?
I watched a few episodes of this. Did you know the author died suddenly a few years ago? She was not very old.
Really?
Yeah.
God, a bad season for light novel authors dying. Because this was the final...
Who else died? Oh, Zero no Tsukaima.
Yeah. This
Familiar of Zero. Talk about something I don't think I've heard anyone mention in years.
It was
but the author also died.
Yeah, not at the... Yeah, too...
He was not old either.
No, but he'd been struggling with health issues for a while.
Yeah.
I think it was fairly... there was a point in which he was fairly clearly...
But yeah, light novel adaptations. Inno X Boku SS. I don't know. It's not really anything to say about it.
I was always... For some reason, I was always under the impression that thing was more for women than men.
So, I'd have to go back and see what it ran in, because I don't think it ran in a women's magazine, though. Or girls. Because I'm pretty sure it ran in a seinen magazine.
I feel like all the artwork I've seen of it, like... But maybe it was at the time, it was just the type of fans I was talking about were very much the fangirly type.
Yeah, and I can see why it would do well, like... for whatever reason... No, I know why. To me... I can see people who are into
Black Butler.
Black Butler being
Yes,
into it, because
that's
it's
what I
kind of a
figured.
similar setup. You got a butler and you have this fancy, privileged girl. There's some fantasy type, supernatural elements involved.
Vaguely gothic.
Very loosely. I watched like 4 episodes of it. I really don't remember much though.
Yeah.
Familiar of Zero, that was just never my sort of thing. So.
It was considered knockoff Shauna at the time because it was the same. It was the same voice actress was the main thing. It was when everyone wanted.
I remember it was big at one point.
Yeah.
But it hasn't really persisted. Oh Lord, what else? There's Kill Me Baby, which I never.
I wanted to Kill Me Baby because that thing. Nothing about it is good apart from everything that is not the actual anime itself. Which is to say, the things that are good about that are the ending song, which was featured in a lot of memes for a while.
Well, if it was featured in memes.
And then there was the what's the thing called when they have the halfway break? The not title cards. The
I know, the eye catches.
Eye catches had a voice going, "Baby, please kill me." Baby, like it was like Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist.
This was Baby. Please kill me. Baby, please kill me. And that fucking cracked me up. Nothing about the show was good, but yeah, the ending is great as well.
See, when I was your age, we were just like, Set up, you.
Sailor Moon, not Full Metal Alchemist. That's what people associate it with.
People still do that though. Somebody even did it on Twitter the other night.
What, Sailor Moon?
No, Full Metal Alchemist.
Full Metal Alchemist. You gotta say it straight away. They say.
You know what? I want to say I really enjoyed that for the Turn A Gundam eye catches. Turn A Gundam. Anyway.
I really like the ones for Gurren Lagann because they were like, row, row, fight the power. Row, row. Anyway. Oh, do you know what I really should have brought up during the like weird multi-legged monster OVA thing? I should have brought up Wasare Nagamo.
Okay.
Or as it has been translated to in English, Little Spider Girl.
Okay.
Which is this is the young animated training project we brought up in previous podcasts. This is my this isn't as big as like some of the stuff that comes out later, like Little Witch Academia and Death Billiards. But Wasare Nagamo is my personal favorite of them all. It's this weird kind of like cutesy, eventually horror-y type thing about this kind of weird doll creature that has spider legs and it's very cute. It's funny, it's well animated, it's clever, and has the weirdest fucking horror freaky-ish ending. It's 20 minutes long. Go search it out. Either Little Spider Girl, just search for Little Spider Girl rather than Wasare Nagamo, because good luck spelling that. Yeah, that thing is wild. A lot better than Gyo.
It sounds like it wouldn't take much.
Yeah.
Look, we do have to shove in a couple of crappy titty shows at the end.
Oh yeah.
So,
arguably,
regardless of my feelings about it, unfortunately I do have to mention High School DxD because
it's arguably the biggest show of this whole season.
Probably.
Like it's had multiple seasons. It has been.
Oi! Symphogear's had multiple seasons.
Yeah, I was thinking Symphogear, but I think DxD has had...
Okay, when was the last time we had a DxD?
I think they just finished is the problem.
Alright, well guess what?
Have you ever...
You know that titty shit like this doesn't finish until the audience is no longer there, right?
Oh, so that's what you're saying? So you're saying...
Yeah,
okay.
so there's more Symphogear, so that clearly... No, High School DxD was really big, though.
Funimation still puts it on their advertisements that they have across websites with, like, come on these tits or something. I don't know what they say. Have you ever
advertised?
Have you heard some of the, like the things they... I mean, evidently it does well for them. Like, on a level... High School DxD... You ever look at the actual, what the light novel writing is? It's literally just a guy going, whoa, boobs, I saw a boob, whoa, boy. Like, it's written like that. Like, I'm not joking, that's genuinely how, I was like, oh, I think I saw a nipple. I think I can die and go to heaven. Like, it is, like, comparing this to like, the artistic delight of Nisei Monogatari.
Oh my god.
To this tripe. This insult to my horniness. High School DxD is terrible. It does have some very...
Can I point something else out, though? Were you even still in the target audience at this point?
I watched Nisei Monogatari.
Okay, High School DxD, though, isn't the target audience like 13-year-old horny boys?
Probably, but
I don't think Nisei Monogatari's target audience is quite the same.
No.
Anyway, there was also Listen Up Girls, I'm Your Father... Which is,
Which I think we're just going to end the podcast rather than talk about that.
Excuse me.
Oh, you want to talk? I
do want to talk about it. This is, so there are 3 girls and their parents die, and then somehow this fucking dweeb ends up as their adoptive father, except he's only like 2 years older than the oldest one, so, yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I've also seen...
Woody Allen?
No. What's the name of that hentai?
Bunny Drop!
No! You're going to hell for that.
I'm sorry. Do we want to talk about how Bunny Drop ends?
Okay. And in that case, I guess we'll finish this podcast there. It's an eventful season. God, eventful podcast. This went on for a while.
Yep.
This was a long season. But you know what? It's fun talking about anime with you.
Oh God, let's cut it off now.